So hi everyone. I believe we've I've not introduced myself properly, but I will for sure do that very soon. When it comes to the session work, I'll just quickly go through the basic introductions of what the session is and what we could learn from today's session as well. So like the Hami introduced you to my general overview, I'm a business partner executive at HR, currently working at Virtusa. And also I'm doing some communication trainings to both corporate end and university end as well. And also I'm an undergraduate just like y'all. So I am currently my final year at Slit University. And I'll be graduating in the next year. And yeah, so this is more of a, if it is a shock for you as to how I'm doing this session at this, at this day and age, it'll be the gist of the session as well, since I'm speaking about you are a brand and since personal branding got me here as well. So it's very nice to meet all of you. And yes, also thank you to Itimali as well. I believe he gave me um, the invite as well. So thank you very much for that as well. All right, so we'll go with the session. But before we do, I want to quickly do a small icebreaker to see how you guys are. Just maybe quickly, could I see, now I know you guys have the access to the reaction tab of Google Meets. Could I see some reactions go up? Like I want to see if everyone is alive and well and doing any sort of reaction, whatever your favorite reaction is, whether it's a heart or whatever it is. Okay, even the hands up, that's fine. Whatever the reactions that you can use, just use it and let's see what sort of, all right, a couple of people did. Okay, superb. Nice, hearts and, all right, hearts and party confetti going up, all right. Okay, good. All right, you guys are alive. That's all I needed to know. Superb, all right. Thank you for that. Okay, so we'll start up with the icebreaker because normally I do icebreakers to start up my sessions. So for the first icebreaker, I want to do some sort of a would you rather. So I hope you guys know what a would you rather is. It's basically giving a question and you guys have two choices. Maybe it's the first answer or the second answer you can pick from. So you can pick either answer which fits most to you. Like what is more suitable to you. I want to see what you guys would answer for this type of a question, right? Just to get a just idea about all of you. Right, so let's go with the first question. Right, so would you rather never check social media again or never watch movies again? So I want you to answer number one or number two, depending on what you like. If it's never check social media again, you can put number one. Or if it's never watch movies again, you can put number two in the chat. Whichever you feel. Never check social media again or never watch movies again. What do you guys feel like? What is the better option for you? Number two, okay, Malmi thinks never watching movies again. All right, okay. Majority goes to number two. Okay, Vidusari thinks never checking social media again. Okay, good. All right. Is there more answers or shall I proceed to the next question? Number two, okay. People like movies that much, all right. Of course. Social media. So no one would rather check social media than watch movies. Okay, that's fine. All good. All right, so I did get a small gist idea of that. All right, next question. Would you rather have your dream job but never get weekends off? Or have weekends off forever but no dream job? Again, one or two. What do you guys feel like? Have your dream job but never gets weekends off, or have weekends off but forever but no dream job? Which one would you pick? Which one do you think that suits you the most? Two, okay, all right. One, okay. One, okay, all right. Majority is one, all right. Okay, good. So you guys are ready to sacrifice your weekends for the likelihood of having a dream job. I'm curious to see what is your dream jobs. Like, what do you guys have as your dream jobs? Because now multiple. Oh, there are a couple of twos. All right. Okay. Super. Right. we'll get to what your dream job is in the future. So we'll go ahead with the rest of the would you rathers. So good. I like that. I like that participation. Right. Next up, would you rather speak all languages fluently or be a master at every tech skill? Right. This is a very important question, I think. One or two? Again. Two. All right. Be a master at every tech skill. Okay. Right. Which would benefit you more in this 2025 era? Two. Okay. All right. So I see a latter kind of a vote. Be a master at every tech skill. Okay. Two again. Okay. So majority goes to two. Right. Good. 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 Superb. Superb. So basically, people would love to have more tech skills, and that gets the job done, right? Because having languages nowadays, although it could get you to a place in networking, I would say having a mastery at tech skills is kind of the niche habit of learning these days. So good. Kudos to all of you. Right. I believe we are coming to the last couple of questions, so bear with me again. All right. Next question. Would you rather always be slightly overdressed or always slightly underdressed? What is your opinion? Let's say in a professional occasion, let's say if it's fitting to your university, maybe let's say a university gathering where you are having to meet your deans and your professors and whatnot. Would you always be slightly overdressed for those occasions or slightly underdressed? I think we could get a solitary answer to this. Slightly overdressed. Okay, one. We have one as an answer. Anyone else? Two. Okay. Slightly underdressed. Okay. There's no judgments over here. Whatever you feel like. Two. Okay. All right. Slightly underdressed. Okay. Cool. All right. Okay. Yes, probably the niche situation nowadays. It's fine. All good. So next question, and this is the final question as well. I want to know: would you rather be known by everyone but misunderstood, or known by few but understood deeply? What do you guys think? It's a pretty psychological question, I would say. Would you rather be known by everyone but misunderstood, or known by few but understood deeply? Two. Okay. Majority vote goes to two. Two again. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Good. So a solitary answer. A majority vote for number two. To known by few but understood deeply. That's very good, because that is pretty much the gist of having a personal brand, I would say. Because, of course, everyone would like to have recognitions and to have it being recognized to a lot of people. But the actual gist of it comes when you are known by a few important people, but understood very deeply. Because that's what kind of guides you to the best parts of life, right? All right. So we'll quickly, with that, I would like to end my icebreaker session. I hope you guys enjoyed that small would you rather. Just to see how everyone is doing, right? And just to see how the crowd is. Right. So with that, I want to speak about this. Now, there are many people who are probably more experienced in this section, right, about maybe marketing, branding, and more than myself, actually. And there might be more people who are qualified to speak about this more than myself as well. But what I will do is I will kind of bring into attention through the perception and the hands-on experience I have working across different corporate sectors and different other work experiences as well. Like example, with large organizations like Emmaus, Virtusa, and all those as well. So I'll kind of be touching upon all these things little bit so that you guys will get the best out of this session as well, right? So it's a Sunday evening, so you sacrificed your Sunday evening for this. So I'll make sure to give you guys the best return on investment on this as well. Right. So moving on. So make sure to keep this in mind. Now, when I say you are a brand, it's very It's very, out there. There's nothing very intuitive of saying you are a brand without exactly knowing what sort of brand you are. And what does brand actually mean? Right? We'll get to that. But also, I want to touch about this. When I say when you're a brand, you get to be in a brand when you have grabbed the best of the opportunities, right? So keep this quote in mind, right, till the end of the session, that nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity. What I mean by a missed opportunity here is you can have multiple opportunities that come across your way. I'm guessing everyone of here is in university right now, along with me. And we have gotten opportunities after opportunities and after opportunities. But sometimes when we sort of kind of maybe overthink on certain opportunities, we tend to miss the most important opportunities. And we kind of cannot diversify between opportunities as well. What an opportunity is it could be maybe a job opportunity. It could be another academic opportunity, or maybe it could be another networking opportunity, or maybe a soft skill training opportunity, a tech skill training opportunity, whatever it is. These significant opportunities we may miss not seeing the value of it currently, right? So it works like a ripple effect. What I mean by ripple effect is when you lead to missing one opportunity that may grant you a bigger one in the future, it's sort of kind of become an addiction of missing opportunities daily, right? You keep it on, maybe saying I'll miss this one, maybe I can work on the other one that comes up next, and maybe I can miss this and I can work on the other, and it just becomes an addiction of missing opportunities, and that sort of leads us to kind of lose many opportunities that would have been the opening we always wanted, right? So my idea about this is, why not try and see whether this sort of fits into you. And I'll explain this more when I come to my journey in a nutshell. But just keep this in mind. When once you miss one opportunity, maybe it could not have a direct impact on you currently. It could have an impact on you for the future, right? So this is something that you need to keep in mind with the more we go with this session and the more we go with our own journeys as well. Right. So now just a small question. I want to see your answers in the chat as well, right? Now, when I spoke about branding in the last few slides, now I want to know what your idea about the word branding is, right? So what's the first thing that comes up in your head when I say branding? The word branding. What is the first thing that comes up into your head? You can use the chat. You can maybe use your voice. Anyway, what's the first thing that comes in your head when I say the word branding? I would love to see some answers. Any answer? A unique image. Okay, Vinuki said a unique image. Good. Very good answer. Right, superb. That's one way of thinking it. Any other? So you don't need to think of this as a personification, maybe like for a person, but you can think of maybe even products. What does branding come into products? Like, let's say maybe some, what do we call these? Maybe social media brands or any other sort of brand. What is the first thing that comes into your head when I say branding? Promoting about unique products. Right. Very good. Good answers. Something else. It's very close. It's pretty much you're giving the idea. It can be right or wrong. It doesn't matter. With the interest of time, maybe I can take it forward. So what branding really means is, like Vinuki said, and Moshe, I hope I didn't butcher your name, said, it is about unique images, right? That's true. And promoting about unique products, what we could call promoting, the perception of promoting is through both branding and marketing, right? It goes power in power with both. But creating a unique image and having a unique image is what creates a brand. And branding means you exemplify or you kind of build yourself through that unique image, right? I'm taking your answer as the example for you. So that is pretty much it. What you think of branding, right? So like Moshe said, promoting about unique products. I'm not going to talk about, products as in, but if I speak a little bit more of personal promotion as a brand, that is what we called branding or self-branding or promoting personal branding, right? We'll talk about this a little bit, and I'll probably go into this slide, which is sort of what I want to kind of explain further as well. So maybe I'll speak about my journey quickly in a nutshell. So I started to do my ordinary levels at Lycée Military School, Vattala. And prior to doing my ordinary levels, I was doing SIMA. And although I couldn't finish it, I was promising myself I'll finish it in the latter stages, maybe after A-levels, right? I finished my A-levels, and then right after finishing my A-levels, I went into the Sri Lanka Navy. I did a training for about 1.5 years, and I got a very good understanding about when it comes to obedience and about promoting yourself in a much more gentleman sort of way, right? Through all those kind of experiences, I used those experiences, although I couldn't sustain to be in the Navy due to medical and personal reasons. I took myself into a different perception, right? I took myself into, after I left the Navy, I took myself into the universities. I came into my university, which is the Slit University. And then I didn't, kind of give up on myself. I worked on myself a lot more. I needed to learn more about what I could do to kind of level up each and every single day. So I joined, like all of you, like many of you, I would believe, joined different clubs in university. So I joined the Gather Club initially to improve my speaking abilities, right? And then I joined the Leo Club to improve my kind of networking skills and kind of work in the, voluntary work as well, right? So I joined these clubs with a promise to level up each and every single step of my way. So that is how I got into this perception of maybe I could do a little bit different of a way or a different sort of a route. So I went into this entire new kind of club or organization, we call it right now, as ISEC, right? There's this organization called ISEC. It's similar to Leo as well. So ISEC is a volunteering organization as well. And I'm still an ISEC as well. I've got the opportunity to work not with just people around my university, but also with people in different other countries, cultures, and traditions as well. So this is what brought me into this idea of not just pursuing the growth of myself, but also to pursue the growth of my character within networking premises, right? So I just did not network with ISECers in Sri Lanka. I networked with ISECers abroad. And also, to the benefit of myself, I had the opportunity to network with ISECers in the corporate field as well, in the corporate industry. This is the way I found the opportunity to join MAS. So when I joined MAS, I started as an intern. I actually joined as an HR intern. Although my degree being information technology, I was very confused as to what HR is. And I wanted to kind of test the grounds. It's not my bread and butter, but I wanted to test the grounds because being in ISEC, it just gave me that sort of personality to join into HR as well. So I joined it. I actually enjoyed working in it. So I loved doing my work in HR that I actually kind of grew into it, right? So my abilities and my performances were very much known by a lot of people inside MAS. So that opportunity, that kind of recognition or that resemblance gave me the opportunity to level up myself into becoming an executive as well. So when I grabbed that opportunity of becoming an executive, I worked very hard. So I worked in the aspect of global branding and talent attraction. So I went into different universities, like, of course, your university as well, Moratuwa University. And then I went into Japura, Ruhuna, all universities in Sri Lanka. I've been to all of them. We've done promoting and we've done, what do you call it, recruitments. And we've done so many other different sort of talent attraction sessions. And I was able to mingle with a lot of my own colleagues as well, even in State University. So I was able to come into the stage by always believing in myself and keep on striving to be a better person, right? And then by the middle of that, I was also had the opportunity with some of my university mates to create our own organization or to create our own kind of a startup, I would say, which is called Beyond the Mic, right? This is a small organization that I started to promote communicational trainings, to do communicational trainings and to provide that kind of workplace culture understandings as well. So this was a very good opportunity for me to provide whatever the skills or necessities I have to bring other people to where I came to as well. So I still am doing those communication trainings when I joined Virtusa as well. So when I joined Virtusa, I was in the middle of the year. I joined and I was able to garner a good reputation where I was able to do communication trainings, and I'm still doing communication trainings to this day as well. So this entire pathway journey, it took me a while to get used to a different sort of a water, right? I've been into through the military and then to my degree, which is the IT degree, and I've been into a very different path, which is HR. And there's these different opportunities I was able to have, and this didn't come alone without going through the path of building my personal branding, right? So this is something very important to know as to what got me here. It's because of this key niche idea of personal branding, right? So when I was at MAS as well, I noticed a very crucial thing when it comes to candidates who are looking for opportunities, especially job opportunities, right? There were many ones who actually stood out and who had a lot of experience in tech-wise, in maybe manufacturing-wise, and all these other things, but they didn't know how to present themselves or their story clearly, right? Whatever they needed or whatever they wanted to kind of elaborate, they didn't know how to do it right. So no matter how much of the talent or skills they had, they were just at a very huge loss, right? They didn't have that unique capability of introducing themselves clearly, right? And it's not just through maybe the communication, it's also through the tone of you speaking. It's also through the way of your, way you dress, the way you present yourself, and also through the most human kind of things like the facial expressions. So these things were lost, and they didn't have a lot of these things, which kind of diverted the talent. It showed a good distribution between the talented and from the people who had a good, way of presenting themselves. So there was two differentiated crowd there, and that is how we could, identify the people who have actually practiced and learned and grown as through personal branding, right? And also there were some people who had networked a lot, connected with people inside organizations, pushing themselves into places and conversations behind closed doors. So those kind of things also elevated them to kind of bring into the job market as well. So these are what is actually done through personal branding. It's not how you just create a story about yourself. It is also these small other things that brings you into the niche market, right? So what is this? I want to kind of bring this idea in a different way. What is this small object here? What is this? Some answers? What do you see? In the screen, what is this small answer, small object? Right, a toothpaste. Exactly. Right. So yes, this is a toothpaste. I want to know from all of you, what are the toothpaste brands that you know? It can be Sri Lankan, it can be global. What are the toothpaste brands you know? Signal, yes. Signal, again, commonly used brand. Okay, what else? It can be the, toothpaste you use as well. That's completely fine. Klogard, good. All right, Signal, Klogard. Any Sri Lankan brand? A Pepsodent, okay. Yes, Pepsodent is also a global brand. Okay, good. I got some good answers, a diverse set of answers, right? So, yes, as you can see in the screen, these are the, I hope the images are visible. If not, just give me a second. Yeah, let me try and, apologies on that. I think there was a small internet issue there. Right. I'm guessing you guys can see my screen, right? Let me share them again. Right. Can someone confirm if you guys can see my screen? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Super. All right. So you guys can see now these different sort of brands, right? There is Signal, like you said, Klogard. There are a couple of Sri Lankan brands as well, Kakulu and Sudanta, right? So these are some known brands, right? So let's take all these brands. You have all these brands. They have the same goal, which is to attract the audience of people who want to clean their teeth, right? So why have different brands when you can have just a singular brand and just clean your teeth then and there? Why? Why different brands for the same purpose? It's a very simple answer. Let me tell it to you in this way, right? One of these brands sells the trust aspect. Okay? One of this brand sells the nature aspect. One of this brand sells the care aspect. And one of this brand sells the confidence aspect. If you do or do not know those stories, it's a good time to kind of have a research about these brands. Because that's the main key point that differentiates each brand towards their own story. Yes, for different companies having different purposes, different business purposes. So when one sells trust and one sells nature, one sells care and another sells confidence, this is the diversion of what is the best way to sell the product, right? There are different ways they portray themselves through different branding mechanisms. So just like how a product brand themselves, you need to know how we could brand ourselves, right? Just like Signal has its own strong points and Klogard has its own strong points, Signal can also have their own weak points that Klogard's having as a strong point. This is what creates a diversion of product branding. And this is what could create the diversion from you and someone else as a personal brand, right? So keep that idea. Like said in this slide, everyone's selling clean teeth, but each brand sells it in a different mechanism, right? All right. Again, another small different kind of a perception on this. What is this logo? I'm pretty sure all of you should be knowing what this logo is. What is this logo? All right. You sure about it as the YouTube logo? Is there any other different answers? Good. I like how you guys are saying and confident it is YouTube. Yes, it is YouTube. I don't want to waste your time. It is YouTube, right? So YouTube has actually a different way how they do their branding and marketing, right? We have this certain thing called ads. So the branding, yes. We have this certain things called ads, right? So when we go through these videos, YouTube videos, there's this time threshold that we get to see, that we get to have a small conversation between going into the video and staying on this specific ad, right? But there is a chance for us to skip this ad. I want you all to participate and tell me how much time does it take to skip an ad. Roughly. It can be right answers, it can be wrong answers, completely fine. I want to see what you guys think. How long does it take in YouTube to skip an ad? 5 seconds, okay, good. 10 seconds, okay, good. 4 seconds, okay, good. Any other answers? 5 seconds, okay, good. It's touching the point, the key, the exact seconds as well. All right. In an average of all of your answers, it comes into 6 seconds, right? This 6 seconds is the same time, very same time a recruiter from an organization takes to evaluate a CV and skip, right? This is the same 6 seconds that you use to skip an ad or have the opportunity to skip an ad. The same 6 seconds it takes for the recruiter or anyone who's willing to get you into the job to skip your CV or to skip your profile or to skip your resume, specifically to skip your brand. Because when you skip an ad on YouTube, you're skipping a brand's effort into marketing their product, right? It's the same way a CV or your resume or whatever it is, the same way you market your own product as well, right? Now, how do we kind of elevate ourselves to not get into that threshold of being skipped? That's the main idea of creating a personal branding as well. To not let your being, involved into being ignored through the CV selection process, right? It's called the golden 6 seconds for CV. Yes, exactly. That's a similar idea of that. It's the golden 6 seconds. You either stick into the job or you have to, you might be skipped for that process as well. In a lot of these as well, in a lot of these organizations, there's also the ATS, which is the automatic tracing system, where the CVs go through an initial pre-screening as well, and then only goes into the recruiter, right? So these are certain things, and these are certain things you should know when you apply into an organization, that these 6 seconds are the most crucial 6 seconds of your personal brand getting into the hands of your bosses, right? So like in the slide, what recruiters notice 95% of the time, maybe a candidate going into an interview, they're nervous. That is how it is. So in order to stand out from being the most experienced to being actually chosen into the job role is through the idea of getting your visibility, getting your voice, and getting your value recognized in the right way, right? Because now in 2025, hiring isn't just about your degree anymore. It's always about your visibility, your voice, and your value. So companies can hire people who actually do have good experiences, but they can also hire people who can portray a good personality, right? They can hire people who can communicate their story well, right? Certain aspects like this, where we have a good polished LinkedIn and we know how to professionally tell our stories to them through confidence and clarity, have a good digital presence, seeing what are the available opportunities there are in the market, being an opportunity magnet, we say. This is what kind of differentiates you from the others, right? So maybe I can quickly show you, like I said before about the LinkedIn part, I can show you my LinkedIn as well quickly to show you what kind of way you can garner this opportunity as well, right? So do let me know when you can see the screen. 1 second. Right. Can someone do confirm if my screen is visible? Superb. All right. So yes, so this is my LinkedIn profile, right? In a very nutshell, this is my LinkedIn profile. I actually created this. I created this a long time ago. I actually started using it very recently. I believe it's in the month of February or March. I actually learned and understood why you should actually have a LinkedIn and how important it is to kind of garner the networking through LinkedIn as well, right? For those of you who have LinkedIn and already have an established network inside of LinkedIn, kudos to all of you, right? I'm glad you took that extra step to create your personal branding. But for those who don't, this is the best platform you can use to network, not only amongst your colleagues, not only amongst your academic profiles, but into the corporate world, right? This is the best place to kind of get into that threshold as well, right? So you can have a good profile picture. I don't want to go through this entire gist of creating a LinkedIn profile. Maybe if you require, I can do it separately too. But this is how you get a LinkedIn profile in a nutshell. This is through inspirations I got from the people who in the industry I've worked with as well, right? So have a good description about yourself. So, have some good posts about yourself. So since I have not posted recently, there's nothing much I could show you. But yeah, so make sure you update your LinkedIn profile, right? Because this is one of the biggest places the recruiters will go to visit and see what is your current statuses and what are the things you have done. Now, for example, for me, since I actually joined this year, properly I've joined this year, I've shared certain things of my organizations I've worked before, right? Even from MAS, from Virtusa, which I've been in recently, things I've done in Virtusa, things I've been highlighted at Virtusa. This is the Virtusa's Sri Lanka's main page. Things I've done, especially my communication training programs. Also, any new things you do, maybe any opportunity you have gotten and you have kind of maybe you can promote whatever you have received as an opportunity and you have taken the position of career position. And most importantly, which I would want to emphasize further on this as well, is about this certifications. These certifications are very important in getting maybe if it's a tech role or maybe if it's an HR management, business management, biotech, engineering, whatever it is. These certifications are very important and very good ways to highlight that you have a certain, brand presence right now, right? For example, I've done certain certifications through Coursera, through Google, through AWS, and some of those certifications I haven't even added into my LinkedIn profile, which, isn't a really good thing to do. Because you need to make sure whatever the certifications, you get the opportunity to do so. And for those of you who hasn't got into this gist as well, do certifications to elevate not just your knowledge, but also to improve the understanding to someone who's willing to recruit you. That, okay, you have all these certifications, you have all these things, all these assets. Now all I got to do is assess your personality. That's all. Right? So make sure whatever the things you have obtained, whether it be a certification, whether it be recognitions, whether it be rewards, you highlight them, you promote yourself, right? That's the main gist of self promotion, the self branding, personal branding. You need to highlight and you need to showcase those as much as you could, because these are things that gets to people, and these are things that show people that you have been through this journey and you're willing to learn, to adapt and overcome, right? You need to show their personality and you need to show their mindset. That mindset is what differentiates you from someone else, right? So make sure to highlight these things into your profile and get a nice, good profile up and running, right? So whatever the experiences you have. So for example, if I were to show quickly, I don't want to take too much of time on this. So I'm currently working in business partnering executive. I'm also working in ISEC as well as the National Head of External Relations, International Congress, communication trainer, Toastmasters International, and been in MAs, such, and also the Navy as well. So I've included all of these in my profile, right? Another thing I want to highlight is your educations, right? Make sure whatever the education you're currently pursuing on, you put it into your LinkedIn profile. Whilst you also put it into your LinkedIn profile, make sure you put it into your CV. These two things, the CV, I'll show it to you next, and your LinkedIn profile, both should be updated as of now, right? These few key tools is what could elevate your personal branding into a next level, because a key point in personal branding is networking. And in order to create a network or bring connections, you need to make sure you have the necessary tools to do that as well, right? So keep this in mind. So I'm currently reading the information technology degree, and I've done these education pathways as well, right? So like I said, license and certifications, there's a separate section for that. Make sure to add all the licenses and certifications you have as well, because that's what brings a little bit more of a asset as well to you. Whatever the volunteering experiences, you can add over here. Not going to go through that too much. All right, next one, right? This is very important. This is something that could differentiate you from someone else, is the recommendations you get, whether it be through the industry experts or whether it be through your own university professors or lecturers. These recommendations. So these recommendations is what kind of gives the image to a recruiter that there is a credibility to your LinkedIn profile, that you have done such and such, and you have this credibility aspect through a person who has worked with you, right? So these key things are very important in building your LinkedIn profile and in building your this thing. So make sure if you do not have industry experience, what you could do is you can ask out for some help from someone you have. Maybe it could be a professor, maybe it could be a lecturer, to give you a recommendation, right? So that kind of gives you that credibility, and that is very important as well. So I've given recommendations as well. So yeah, and also the other thing, if you have any awards or if you have any honors or recognitions, make sure to add them in here as well. Maybe it can be from your school to your university, whatever it is, add them into this as well, because they are very important as well. So yeah, this is just the ink of what a LinkedIn profile should be, and you need to make sure that you have a proper LinkedIn profile, because that's what could elevate your personal branding into a further level. Yes, so make sure to have that as well. All right, quickly we'll go into, would you tell us, sorry about this, quick screen, yeah. Okay, there's a question. Would you tell us how LinkedIn works in corporate sectors? Very good question. So LinkedIn is a tool that many of the corporate sector is already involved in, right? When it comes to your CEOs, when it comes to your recruiters, to the most important people who could be your future bosses, every single person nowadays needs to have a LinkedIn account, right? Many of the times, university recruitments are done through a good, polished LinkedIn account. People see these LinkedIn accounts and they create an image for who this person is. For example, like how I showed you, my LinkedIn profile, they have an image now. They see Eranga's profile. They know Eranga has done such and such. Eranga has experience in such and such. and I can do these things as well. So whatever I have to go and do the interview or show my CV, they already know what I have done, and they already know what I'm capable to do. Now all they got to do is assess my personality. In some aspects or forms, corporate sectors do identify personalities through the LinkedIn profile as well. Whether it be through the interest you have, there was a separate tab, show the interests. Whether it be through your interests, whether it be through maybe mutual connections, people can assess how good you are in your personal branding aspect or your personality, through those aspects, right? So you need to make sure that you have that updated LinkedIn account. If you do not have today, make sure to create one today itself, right? This is the first step that you're getting to kind of start elevating yourself into the corporate world, right? And start, if you have an interest, maybe if it's Virtusa, I'm going to talk about Virtusa. If it's Virtusa that you're interested in, if it's Virtusa that you want to get into, have a create a pathway into getting into Virtusa. Maybe it could be to connect with people. Maybe it could be to connect with myself or to people who are, working into the relevant specialization you want to get into. Or if you want to join MAS, whether it be to connect with a manufacturing expert, or maybe if it is to HR, whatever it is, connect with the relevant people or the relevant people who could get you to that position as well. Have a conversation. LinkedIn is it's not a very corporated only kind of platform. It's now even a social media platform as well. People actually put a lot of quotes, their stories, their lifestyles, and all these things in LinkedIn as well, right? Nowadays, that is the most niche gist of doing things as well. But it's very important that you also identify the people who you connect with as well. Because sometimes certain pathways you may take wouldn't necessarily bring you the best outcome at the end as well. So be careful, be cautious when you use certain platforms to your benefit, right? I hope that answered the question. If there are more questions, please do drop down in the chat or do unmute your mic and ask me as well. I'm all in for answering questions. But I'll quickly show you my CV as well. So this is just to give you guys an idea. So this is my current CV. I have it updated to my most recent achievements and everything. So yes, when it comes to, I've put a picture of myself. I can go through how you could create a CV and LinkedIn profile a little bit, maybe in a different session or whatever it is. But just get the basic understanding of how your CV needs to be structured, right? This is not a session on CVs, but I'll quickly go through what the things are required for a CV. If you do have a proper CV made, kudos to you, congratulations. But this is a CV that is, that go through a lot of recruitments as well. So that is why I'm showing it to you as well. So make sure to have your details, your personal contact details, all these things listed down properly and updated, right? Because certain times, and also if it's an email you're putting down, put a proper email, because there are certain emails that is not fondly into the corporate sector, and it kind of maybe could be Pink Panther 123, I don't know. There was a recent occasion where we got that as well. So make sure to put your most professional and most updated mail as well. Most usable phone number, address, which is current address as well, right? About yourself. So you don't need to put this much of very, elaborated things. You can always discuss this through during your interview. But this is the first thing, I already had in my first CV as well, so I'm just keeping it as well. And your work experience, make sure to have your proper updated work. If you do have any work experience, maybe from your internships or other things, you can always list them down here as well. If you have other sort of international work experiences or whatever it is, you can list them down here as well. Extracurriculars. So this is very important, right? When you have extracurriculars, I'm pretty sure if you have a lot of extracurriculars, make sure to jot down the most important things, right? Do not jot down every single extracurricular you have. Jot down the biggest or the most important extracurriculars that you need to have to be shown, right? Show them as the most prioritized, and also create it in a chronological order, maybe going through the most important accomplishments first, and then on to the latter ones as well, right? So Isaac in Sri Lanka, Toastmaster International, sports education. Education is very vital, and all the other things as well, license and certifications and all these things. So it's very important to keep a CV in just 1 to 2 pages, because having more than 2 pages is going to be rejected, because of course it's very difficult to go through a lot of CVs and with multiple pages, right? Keeping just 1 to 2 pages is very important. References. So I do not add references mainly because it's someone else's details. This is an opinionated kind of thing. If you want to, you could, but make sure if you're adding a reference, you have the prior permission from the person you're adding as a reference, because it's someone else's private details as well. If it's their phone number, their name, you need to make sure they are known to be included in your CV, right? Yes, so that's my CV. And there's this other thing that I'm working on. So this is my what do you call it? My branding or what do you call it? The graphic design portfolio, right? It's my graphic design portfolio. I have it separately made. So I'll show you another portfolio as well. I have. All right. Is there any similar global accounts as LinkedIn? There are, of course, there are, and I am not very sure or certain about the others, because I kind of work along with LinkedIn a lot than the others, but I'm pretty sure there are. If you do a good research on it, you can, kind of get more, but I am not completely sure, or I'm not very certain on those things, but you can do a research on it further, or maybe I can check and I'll let you know what is the most certified, maybe most trusted platforms that you can use to get corporate exposure as well, right? So this is another portfolio. This is my, corporate trainings or training portfolio, which is made for Beyond the Mic. So these different portfolios get you into different industries, right? So make sure whatever the thing you're going for, you have a polished portfolio included for them, right? Right. I'll quickly get into the session. So I hope I gave you guys an understanding about the LinkedIn aspect, or having created your resume, how important it is as well. So please do let me know if you can see my screen. Right. Is my screen visible? Can I have someone's confirmation? Is my screen visible, guys? Yes. Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So quickly, let's do another pulse check. I want to see if everyone is still awake and if everyone is still in the session. So again, could you guys drop down your favorite reactions in the reaction tab? You can put your favorite reactions. How is everything? If it's good, you can put a thumbs up or whatever. If it's okay, whatever. You can even raise your hand. It's still fine. Okay. Right. If it's bad, you can put a thumbs down. Completely fine. All good. Superb. Okay. Okay. I'm seeing some good reactions. Okay. Thank you. All right. Good. I'm seeing most of you guys are still awake. Happy to hear that. Happy to see that. Right. So we'll quickly go back into the session, right? Again, if you guys have questions, would love to see your questions as well, right? Yes. Now, like I said, a polished LinkedIn could bring you some instant credibility, right? And a good storytelling could bring confidence and clarity to how you present them, right? And your digital presence, which means you being involved with a certain organization's requirements, brings you a lot more opportunities than you may think. Why? Because when you know that there are certain opportunities, maybe if you say, for take Virtusa, right? Virtusa has this opportunity for software developer, right? If you see this opportunity, you're going to learn more about what it requires to be taken to that opportunity, right? Maybe if it is requiring certain skill sets, maybe like C# or whatever it is, you need to know and you need to adapt into that requirements, because most importantly, when recruiters put these requirements for a job role or job description, they tend to look at what's most crucial for them, right? What's most important for them at the time. If it's a software developer, they may see certain skill sets as crucially important and certain skill sets that are not crucially important. They tend to focus on people who have those skill sets that are already built in themselves, right? That's the most important idea. But when it comes to internships, because internships are more about learning than work exposure, people tend to recruiters tend to kind of look into more if this person is more having the personality, having the mindset to learn and get into that role, right? And having a future in this work environment as well. Those are few key things that come under notice when we try to apply something, right? When we try to apply to something, right? So that is a little bit, I want to kind of guide you guys into this, right? So in order to create yourself into a personal branding, I have a small model that I can share with you guys, right? It's called the 4 C's. So it goes into clarity, consistency, communication, and connection, right? So what is clarity? Clarity means, so in order for you to make sure you communicate the right thing, you need to know what you actually stand for, right? If I'm going to go for I'm going to go for a HR role, I need to have that stand that I'm going into the HR role. If I'm going into an IT role, I need to have that stand that I'm going into an IT role, right? But sometimes, especially even for me, myself, I've been in situations where I'm confused. Maybe I could go for an IT role, or maybe I go for an HR role, right? I'm not quite certainly sure where I need to end up with. But what I'm going to do is, if an opportunity arises, I'm going to take that opportunity. That's what you need to be clear about. First of all, you need to create that mindset where you're clear of what you will do, whether it be such and such opportunity to get you to where your goal is. That's where you need to take the stand for, right? So make sure that you have that idea. For example, for me to transition from an IT background into an HR, it was difficult. I needed to learn a lot more concepts. I need to learn how strategies work, how talent management works, how talent acquisition works, talent attraction, organization development, these things that are not taught in my curriculum. But I learned through connections. I learned through other opportunities I got. I learned through a lot more things because I reached out for them, seeing those opportunities, right? So you need to know where you stand for, where you're standing right now, and where you want to go to. And that is where I also personified my own goals as well. So I'm transitioning into a role where I bridge the gap between HR and IT, right? So in order to create that bridge, I need to have both qualifications from HR and IT. That's why I'm learning a lot more for both the opportunities I have. Because the future is more into the IT perception, so we need to learn a bit more about IT. So that's why I'm going into the IT field. And HR, because I want to create an environment where I can lead teams, where I can mentor people, I can create that holistic environment to understand what organizational development means. That is why I'm going to HR. So I'm clear where I'm standing for. That is the first C. Second C is consistency. What does consistency mean, right? Consistency mean, let's say you have this clear image in your head, right? But you have no idea how you would want to get there. Now, let's say you figure it out, you connect with people, you grab the opportunity, you get there. But let's say you give up. And when you give up, like I said in the initial slide over here, nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity. So if you give up on this opportunity that you've got, you're going to lose a crucial, important thing that recruiters or that corporate sectors look into, specifically corporate sectors. They look into your consistency. Let's say you get all these opportunities, you work, and you only have, let's say, 3 months of a work experience. You transition into another work experience, you only see 3 months again. So what it shows is that you're only for a short-term consistency level. So consistency means also in one way, whether you're interested in this certain role, or does it keep motivating you to build yourself, to go into further roles in that specific area. So make sure whatever you do, you stay consistent with it. If you get into a club or an organized club, as in a university club, you need to make sure you are consistent with that university club because you are interested in working in that university club. If you get into your, academic purposes, you get into a certification, you make sure you're consistently working on more certifications like that. You keep building yourself, you keep building your educational background, right? So that's what means consistency here, right? Next is communication. Now, communication doesn't mean the entire gist of having good accents, having good clarity in speaking. Having good, vocabulary in speaking. But it simply is whether you can transmit a message across the most clearest and the most understanding way possible. And it begins all with confidence, right? Confidence is the biggest thing when it comes to communication. And when you provide the right communication to someone, let's say to a recruiter, you show that you have confidence in you, right? So make sure that you build this up. There are so many ways you can build communication. It can be through gather clubs, it can be through, I believe there's a University of Moratuwa gather club. There's a Toastmasters club in University of Moratuwa. Join these. And if you're not the best at communicating, it doesn't matter. You can always improve. Even for myself, I'm always trying my best to improve myself, even though I'm doing communication trainings, right? Because we can always polish up, we can always learn one thing from someone else. So learn something every single day to build yourself into your own personal brand. Because that having a good communication, having good confidence necessarily brings you or builds your personality, right? That's one other thing. The last thing is connection. So connection is very important. You don't need to be, having, let's say, relatives in the corporate sector or this, this background of having someone in the corporate sector into getting a role into the corporate sector. I didn't have any like that. I worked myself by building genuine relationships inside of the corporate sector. How I did that was through networking. You can do that so much with the opportunities we have in the universities, with the opportunities we have in LinkedIn, with the opportunities we have in just socializing. It's if you are not a sociable person, let's say you're like, for me, for example, like me, I'm an introvert, right? It's very difficult for me to kind of maybe connect with a lot of people very easily. Make sure the relationships you build are the right relationships that could build you into your next level. That key important factor is necessary because certain relationships, certain genuine relationships you build in the corporate sector could either build you or could either destroy you. So you need to make sure by learning more, by relating more, by getting to know more people, you can understand whether this person could build myself into a better personality or could drag me down into being bad, right? So have good connections that could build your branding even at places that doesn't necessarily being talked to you in front of you and maybe can be talked under closed doors, right? Those are the most important connections that you need to have, right? Okay, so that's the 4C personal branding, right? I have this framework and I'll definitely provide this as well. I could provide it to the team, the University Moratuwa Club team. So go through this, research a bit more on other branding, personal branding models. There are so many that you can look into to create that personal brand, right? Okay, let's go into another pulse check. Right, so quick thing. Now, as you guys can see on the screen, I want to ask you something. Now, let's say if someone Googled you today, what are the 3 words would they actually find? For example, now, if someone Googled Eranga today, the 3 words they could find is probably respectful, maybe even could be annoying, or it could be, professional. 3 words like that, right? So just simple, I want a few, as many responses as you guys can give. What are 3 words that could describe you today? If someone Googled you right now. Any 3 words. It can be values, it can be qualities. Okay, we have a one. All right. Friendly, helpful person. All right. Good. Very good. Any more? Three simple words. I'll take one more and I'll continue. Okay, with the interest of time, I'll quickly continue. Yeah. So if you have any 3 words, maybe if it's in your head and if you can't put it in the chat, completely fine. Keep those 3 words in your head, right? So let's say now you have those 3 words that could describe you currently, right? But what you should also know, that I've tweaked this question again a little bit. Let's say if someone Googled you in 5 years from today, what are 3 words they would find? So you need to make sure in this aspect, you need to make sure that you have some goals that are set as well. Because in personal branding or branding yourself, you brand yourself according to the goals that you want to achieve as well, right? So make sure to have proper set of goals. It doesn't need to be a very long-term goal. It can be, middleistic goals, which is like 1 year, 2 year, maybe another few months, I'll be achieving this. In another year, I'll be achieving this. Another 5 years, I'll be achieving this. And in another 5 years, if someone was to Google me, if they were to find my LinkedIn, or if they were to find some article, something of what I've done, these are the 3 words that could describe, right? So make sure to have a little bit emphasis on this as well. Have a little bit of goals that you have carried yourself, because your brand identity can change upon time. You can have one brand identity right now, and you can have it changed maybe in a few months, in a few years. So your work ethic, your lifestyle, all of this can change upon time. But what is most important is you stay true to yourself. And what you want to be is what many successful people got them to where they are right now, right? They stayed true to themselves and what they wanted to be. So that's how the successful people got them to where they are right now. So make sure you have that in your head, right? So that gap between the 2 slides I showed you, from having the goals, having not many goals set right now, and someone Googling you right now, to having a goal set for the future and having someone Google you in the future and see what sort of a person you are, is called the growth zone, right? That's where your personal brand is waiting to be built, right? So, for example, even for me, when I've been in rooms where there were many people who were more skilled, more experienced, but I was able to put a voice. And I was always able to give an opinion, and I was always able to give an idea, because I always had this goal of being not just the youngest person in the room, but also to be the most vocal person in the room, at least to express one idea per meeting. And that got me a good recognition, and that got me a good personality, and that got me the idea, okay, maybe I could put a little bit more ideas in the future. Maybe give them more visibility to my skills, to my niche abilities, and all these things, right? That's my growth zone, right? That is very important when you create yourself. In 5 years, it might be volunteering, commercial income. Yeah, good, very good, very good answer. So, Moshe, very good responses. Like I said, right? But the reason I got that seat, now, like I said, I've been in rooms and I was able to get vocal. But the reason I was able to get into that room and I was able to have a lot of vocality as well is because at the table, I knew how to communicate what I needed to communicate, right? And that's what the difference is made through a brand. Because you create yourself as a brand, as a unique individual, providing unique ideas. That creates a different branding aspect. Now, when I say unique ideas, it doesn't always have to be very unique. It can be very simply unique. Let's say if you're good at singing, right? You can always grab the opportunities wherever you're working to elevate yourself into a character. Okay, that person is good at singing. That person is good at dancing. That person is good at leading. That person is good at such and such sports. Other examples, right? These things is what is another way of creating your own brand, right? It's always of creating that topic to talk about from others. And if you do not like to be a topic as well, that's completely fine. Certain people like to be a topic to talk about, certain people don't. If you are a person who's in the middle, and if you want to elevate yourself, make sure to have some sort of niche skill of yours to be talked about. That's a very good and a quick way to be enhanced, right? So that's how the growth zone work. And always remember, like I said in the beginning, you already have a brand. You don't need to create a new brand. You just need to uncover it. Just for example, take a chocolate wrapper, right? A chocolate has a wrapping out of it, right? Once you take the wrapper off, that's where the sweet part is, right? Just take the example, just take the idea that the chocolate wrapper, the wrapper part of it is the lack of tendency for you to go out there and build yourself a day or create a branding opportunity for yourself, right? That's the wrapper. And the sweet part is the opportunity. So you're letting yourself surrounded by a fear of not going out there and building your name. So make sure you unlock that wrapper and have that opportunity in your hand. That's the most important thing to get out of this, right? So for myself, through ISEC, MAS, Virtusa, I realized that my personal brand evolved, not just because I designed it, but because I learned to express it through authentic energy, right? And I started being a communication trainer. When I started to be a communication trainer as well, I doubted myself a lot. And that is where I kind of created a less credibility in the beginning. But when I started to lose that doubt on myself, when I started being confident about what I could do, that started building credibility. And it showed that I'm more confident about myself because of this very one individualistic characteristic I told you guys about, which was the consistency part. I kept being consistent with the work I did, and I kept being consistent with improving myself. And that changed slowly. It changed the perception from what I needed to be, right? So that's something you guys should keep in mind of. Right. And also, now, again, people may forget your name, but they'll never forget how your energy made them feel. So that's another thing. Energy and mindset. That goes together, right? Because your energy is your kindness, your drive, your passion, and that is what builds your brand. So having a good energy, positive, optimistic energy, because sometimes you cannot always have good energy, you cannot always have optimistic energy, because sometimes you can have, roller coaster rides, right? You need to make sure that your energy is something drivable. It can be driven into a place that people will feel approachable. Now, for example, for me, if I'm bringing always optimism energy, people will feel more comfortable to talk with me, right? But there can be always sometimes when I don't have that energy, it can lead to less drive and less passion. Still, if you have that good energy around you, you still will be approachable. But let's say if I'm pessimistic, if I kind of argue with things, if I don't look at the same way you do, but I put it in a way that you might not like it, that brings a pessimistic energy. That brings a negative energy. Sometimes people will not reflect with you a lot when it comes into that. So you need to make sure that you make people feel good about you in order to create a good brand around you as well, right? Yes, I see some few things. Can be expert of, yeah, exactly. And branding can be example to something that can be attractive and accepted. Absolutely, right? It should be like that. Branding should be an example of something that is attractive and acceptable for all. But it's always not the case, because sometimes you can have a brand that maybe not all accept for who you are. There can be 99 people who will accept for your brand, but there can always be that one person out of 100 who will not. So you need to not always take into ideology of what everyone thinks around you as well. Let's say you want to create a brand. Let's say, for example, product brands, right? There are so many, even in TikTok, in all these social medias, you can find there are product brands like, let's say, makeup product brands or food product brands and all these other product brands. Let's say a food product brand, right? If the person who's going to review something, like these food reviewers, you might have, of course, seen them. If they do not give that credible reviews for food or whatever the restaurant they go into, and they do this review and they don't give a credible review out of it, because in the comments they might be disagreeing and all these things, they can be kind of less credible, less kind of, they will not be viewed the next time. Why? Because people feel a little bit less trustworthy with this sort of brand or sort of person, right? So that's going to bring a brand down for them, because they are not now approachable, they are not now credible. But that's only if they listen to the comments, right? Now, if it's like one out of many comments, that's what it meant to feel like that, then that's fine, right? But if it's all, maybe then they have to kind of think about what they review, and maybe they might have to think about what they say, because when you put out a brand, especially when it's public, you need to make sure whatever you do is trustworthy, is human, and also is positive, right? Not always obvious you can be positive, but showing that positivity is what could get you that genuine crowd to approach you, right? Make sure whatever you say and whatever you think and whatever you do is positive at many of the times. That's how you kind of grab that credibility aspect. Right. Okay. Next thing, and few of the last things I would say, the power of visibility, right? Like I said, LinkedIn, all these things you can use as tools to create a visibility around you. And like talent without visibility is like a song no one hears, right? There are so many people out there. I'm pretty sure there might be even people out here that are very qualified, but they yet stay invisible. Why? Because sometimes we might think we are not perfect to be into such publicity. We are not perfect to be visible, yet they stay invisible. So you don't always need to be perfect. You don't need to always have the perfect LinkedIn account. You don't need to always have a perfect CV or resume in order to be sent out, to be reached out to, right? You can always start somewhere and you can aim for perfectness. You won't always achieve perfect, because no one can achieve perfect. But if we try to achieve perfect, if we try to land them on the moon, you can. If you try to land in the moon, you can always reach for the stars and land on the moon, right? That's the quote. Yeah. Sorry if I butchered that quote again. If you try to reach for the moon, you can always land amongst the stars, right? So try your best to create something that could get you step by step into where you want to achieve, right? You don't need to have this perfect LinkedIn. You don't need to have this perfect brand image, but you need to start. You need to be seen, heard, and felt. And having a personal brand, maybe even if it's LinkedIn, right? If you create posts and if you put posts out there, if you do these, maybe social media attractions and all these things, it's not arrogance. It's always seen as self-awareness, and you're showing to the world that you're interested in something. You're interested in a field, and you want to get a job in it, or you want to learn about it, or you want to speak to experts in that field as well. Many people who are actually truly passionate about helping someone are there in corporate sectors, who are there in the LinkedIn as well, right? So you need to make sure to make your profile appealing for them to reach out to as well, right? So make sure you do that, right? And the next is, as you can see in this image, be so clear in who you are that opportunities can find you. That is the end goal through this personal branding, right? So every story you've lived out there, your struggles, your pivots, your roller coaster ride, your lessons, they're not accidents. Take them as assets. And if you do not take the advantage of your assets, you're letting someone else use their assets to getting into a role that you always dreamed of, right? So make sure whatever you do, you take advantage, or you take the best use out of your assets, right? And branding isn't about always standing out. It's always staying true to yourself, right? Do not create or do not personify to be someone else. Always stay true to yourself. It's always okay to maybe learn from someone else, but not to be that someone else. Staying true to yourself, staying true to your personal brand is what gets you to your role as well, right? Be authentic, be confident, be smart. But most importantly, be you, right? Like I said in the beginning of the session, we've come to the end of the session. Your degree could give you a job, right? But your brand, that's what builds your journey. So start from tonight itself. If you have LinkedIn, go for it. You can always start reaching out, create some posts, whatever. Start doing some small connections, bit by bit, step by step. Post that first story, speak about what you believe in, reach out and build your digital handshake, I would say, with the world, right? Because one day someone will find your name online, and that is that is where your story will decide your next opportunity, right? So make sure to do these things starting from today. That's where you can build your personal brand, right? So I would like to conclude the session, and thank you for everyone who has been so far in this session as well. And I would like to thank University of Moratua's Leo Club and Eti Malli for giving me the opportunity to speak. Like I said, I'm always there to reach out to. You can always connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm absolutely happy to help you out all over there. So make sure to get connected with me on LinkedIn. And like in this quote says, don't wait for the world to notice you. Start becoming impossible to be ignored, right? So I'm always here for if you have any questions. But if you don't, I would like to conclude the session. And I would like to thank all of you for listening. And Dahamya, over to you.